Hey, Damian, how you doing, man?
All right, man. What's going on?
Doing great. We're a couple days out from WrestleMania. How you feeling coming off such a big win?
I think it finally starting to settle in, man. Like just the nerves have finally calmed. It's what a wild ride. That was awesome.
I mean, WrestleMania is WrestleMania. It's the first show back with fans. Your first WrestleMania as a performer with WWE. Did it meet your expectations, exceed them? Tell me about that.
I blew them away. It's a big deal. It's WrestleMania. The fan in me knows how big of a deal this is. I've attended WrestleManias as a fan. But now to be on this side of the barricade, there were so many emotions that I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to feel them. Like it's our first time with a crowd in over a year. And I have never performed on this stage, and I haven't been on Raw or, just haven't had fans in this type of stage. So I wasn't even sure how they were going to react to me. I'll be honest. I thought I was going to go out there and get just no reaction, just because people are just not sure who I am yet. And when I heard them, scream, I was like, oh, they know who I am. This is so cool. So no, it totally exceeded expectations. Just the moment I walked up on the stage, I was so hyped, and I was like, "This is the greatest day of my career, hands down,
Yeah.
easy." It was awesome.
No, it's funny you say that. That was my next question for you, in that this was your first appearance in front of fans. I mean, obviously we've had fans before with NXT and the limited audience there and whatnot, but the last time we spoke last summer, you had mentioned how you were just starting to find your footing in NXT following the Finn Balor match. This is a totally different Damian Priest than we saw in front of fans, like a full capacity crowd even a year ago. How much are you feeling yourself right now? How much are you in your element of the Damian Priest that we're seeing currently on WWE TV?
Yeah. Oh, this is 100%. Like you said, it's not the same Damian Priest. I feel like I figured out how to be myself now. I was still for a while kind of touch and go and pretending, as far as like doing what I thought people wanted to see or portraying what I thought people thought of me instead of just being me, actual me. And now that's where I'm at, and I'm literally enjoying all of it. Where when you see me smile, it's not a forced smile. I'm actually happy. Everything, I'm feeling everything, and it's awesome. I mean, what a perfect way to do this. Obviously coming out of a pandemic, into WrestleMania with fans, debuting at the Royal Rumble. There was just so many things lined up for me, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to excel and enjoy every single moment of it. So for me, this is, man, I couldn't have asked for anything better. This is awesome.
Yeah, and you've had a damn good run so far on Raw. You've been a part of the main roster for about 3 months, starting with the Rumble. I think you've gone unbeaten one-on-one, too, which is still pretty impressive 3 months in, which is cool. Has that been another thing that's exceeded your expectations? Because, of course, there's always a worry when you arrive on Raw or SmackDown. It's a totally different atmosphere than NXT in terms of just everything, I guess. Did you have any worries going into that Raw debut, and how has your WWE journey been so far?
Well, of course, whenever you're going into something new and the unknown, you always worry because you don't know what to expect. It's NXT, but it was the same thing when I joined NXT. I didn't know what to expect. I was nervous and I was worried, and I had all the concerns. Was this the right call? Did I make the right decision? And then, yes, I did. And the worries, it's like so many good things happen that it's like I can't believe I worried about anything. And that's kind of where I am now with Raw, where, yes, of course, coming in, I was worried, and I was worried how I was going to be treated. I was worried about the perception of me. I was worried about if people would even care. And I'm talking about the company itself. I'm not even talking about the fans. I'm talking about like Vince McMahon. Would he even care who I am? There was a lot of concerns. And now here I am saying I can't believe I was worried about anything. Look at the spot that they put me in. Look at the opportunities that they've, awarded me. And this is incredible. So there were concerns, but I'll tell you, I can't believe it's funny to think back now that I was so concerned when things have worked out the way they have.
Yeah, and of course, you're of course you're nervous going to a new endeavor, like you said, joining NXT, now Raw, now SmackDown. And it's crazy too. The timing of your debut was wild because it was in the Royal Rumble match itself, and we've seen people debut in the Rumble match, but especially with NXT call-ups, it's very rare that it comes before WrestleMania, and it's usually saved for after WrestleMania, like the Raw after Mania, the SmackDown after Mania. So there's always the fear that you might get lost in the shuffle on the Mania card, but you were in a pretty prominent spot with Bad Bunny against against two former top champions in The Miz and Morrison. Talk about the match itself, because obviously originally it was supposed to be Miz or just Miz and Bad Bunny one-on-one. What was the process there? Because it looked like it'd be a tag team match. It was one-on-one, turned into a tag team match. Were you hurt? Can you add any insight there?
Yeah, there was just, there was a lot of things like just storytelling, where how do we fit? Like, how do we make this? Like, why would Miz straight out challenge, the both of us when he would just want to beat up Bad Bunny?
Sure.
So it was more so storytelling. We're always banged up and stuff. So, we took that as, or at least I took that, that couple of weeks where the focus was Miz and Bunny, where I was like, you know what, then I'll just rest up and kind of, get over some soreness and whatnot. But this is what we do. This is the way we always are. And we're go, go, go. So the idea of that there possibly could have been a tag match, I wouldn't, that was not a worry or concern of anybody's. It was more so, how do we get there that makes sense? And the process, again, it was awesome. And working with Bad Bunny was great. We're cool, like we're friends. So that's always easier when you get to work with a buddy of yours. And I'll tell you, we goofed around. We had a blast every single Monday, like for real. We in the back, and then it was kind of like, well, let's just act like this on TV, which is kind of cool. And and then leading up, and then actually having the match, and I mean, wow, the whole situation was incredible. I still can't believe that happened. What I mean? It's almost like it was a dream that I had last week, and I'm like trying to remember it. Like, did that really happen? It was just wild. Like, I just could have never expected this to happen, and then let alone happen the way it did. And Bad Bunny killed it. He really did. And I knew he was going to shock people, but even I was standing there. I was like, man, he's doing it. He's doing it even better than I thought he would. He did so great. Everything. From the entrances to the, like the celebration after, everything was beautiful. I'm grateful for all of it.
That's what I was going to ask you. So we were all surprised by Bad Bunny's performance in the ring at WrestleMania for the most part. You've been associated with him on screen since the Rumble. It's been a few months now, and you said you were surprised a little bit yourself. How much did you know? Because obviously we've been hearing the rumors that he's been training in the ring for a few months now. Did you think he would go in there and literally almost steal the show the way that he did? Like, how much did you know about his in-ring ability up to that point going into WrestleMania?
Oh, I was working with him every week.
Nice.
Training with him. So, I had a good hand in training him, along with others like Drew Gulak, Brian Kendrick, Adam Pearce, Norma Smiley. We all had a hand in working with him, but I was consistently there the entire time with him, in the ring, giving him moves, taking stuff from him. And, he took his licks. So I knew he was going to be fine as far as being able to perform. Now, the quality of the performance, that one still got me, because it's WrestleMania. There's nerves, there's a lot of other things that go into it, and a lot of variables that you don't expect. Things can happen that you didn't expect, and how are you going to react to those things? And that's where he got me. I was like, oh wow, he's acting like a pro. Just moving the way he moves, and the way he would look up at me and try to reach for a tag, and it was just like he was feeling, he was in the moment, and I was like, that's awesome. So I was very happy to see that. But he put in the work. And that, when I say that, I don't say that, just to, make people believe that, oh no, he's a nice guy. Mm-hmm. No, he really put in the work every single week, where he was, bruised and sometimes bloodied, and didn't quit. He never stopped. He never said, I don't think I can do this. He would always figure out and be like, no, let's go again. Let's make that better. And he was very adamant about putting on a good performance. Like, that was him. He had a pride. He needed to put on a good performance, not just for the company, not just for his fans, our fans, but for himself. Like, he was a fan, so he wanted to do his dream justice, and I think he did.
And it was pretty clear by the end of that match that he got bit by the wrestling bug, so to speak, and that he did so well. There is absolutely no way that we can't see a repeat performance, whether it be with you guys as a tag team or him doing another match on his own. Did you have any conversations with him afterward that indicated that he might be interested in doing this again at some point down the road?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we talked about it before and after. There's no question that we'll see Bad Bunny in the WWE ring again. When, I don't know. Obviously, he's really busy. He's going to start touring again soon, and that's a wild schedule that he has to just prepare for. But I'd be shocked if we never see him again. It's impossible. The love that he has for this business, and then now the love that the business has for him. There's no way I don't see him not coming back.
100%. I mean, it has to happen at some point. I mean, it was such a good performance. He literally got the cinematic send-off the night on night 2 of WrestleMania to promote the tour,
Yeah.
which, we don't see that often, so that says a lot, which was cool. For you specifically, did you get any sort of feedback coming out of WrestleMania? 'Cause it's WrestleMania, all eyes are on it, whether it's wrestling fans or not. Even people who don't watch WWE in the regular tune into WrestleMania. Did you get any one cool piece of feedback, whether it be from a peer, a family member, a friend, regarding your performance at the show?
I got a lot of them, to be honest. When I came to the back, one of the first people to grab me and hug me was Triple H. And, he was like, this is what I wanted for you. He was like, I knew you could do this. He, Stephanie, Vince, Bruce Pritchard, and Pierce, they all came right up to me immediately. And everybody had nice things to say and congratulating me and being genuinely happy for me for having that moment and work out so well. That one got me to the point where I had to take a walk and be like, I need a second, guys. There's too many emotions happening right now.
Yeah.
So there was just a lot of things. But the main thing was, and I think that would hit me the hardest, was how genuinely happy people were for me, and not just happy for the performance or the company. It was just for me, for having that moment that I've wanted for a very long time. And, the relationships I've built with everyone, it's kind of cool that they understand me and vice versa. So that was probably the most touching thing, was how happy people were for me.
Well, that's cool. I mean, at that point, at what point does it hit you that you're at WrestleMania? Because, for me, watching it, being there live, seeing your entrance, and you've always had a great entrance dating back to your time in NXT, but seeing that live on the grand stage, it's like, all right, that is effing cool. At what point for you did it really sink in that you're at WrestleMania?
So there was 2 moments that really, got me. And the first one, so throughout the day, obviously it's WrestleMania, I'm nervous, and I didn't even look at food that day because just the idea of food, I would get nauseous. And, I'm pacing back and forth. And then it was just, I guess, all the emotions and everything. I kind of almost crashed where I'm sitting in the locker room after I got changed, and I was just quiet and, drained. I felt drained. And then we had to go on stage for the start of the show. And as soon as we walked on the stage and we heard the crowd, I started jumping up and down. Literally jumping up and down like a child. I was like, oh, this is happening. This is it. This is WrestleMania. And then it really hit me. Then I was so hyped up in that moment, And then the other would be, right before I stepped out onto the stage for my entrance, and I'm watching on the monitor. I see Miz and Morris's entrance, and then the lights go out, and I'm walking onto the stage. And then I hear the roar of the crowd, and that was the part where I was like, "Oh my God, they know who I am!" Because they can see me, and so with their reaction, I was like, "Oh, that's for me."
Yeah.
And then the entrance, and that was obviously the coolest thing I've ever done. Just having an entrance at WrestleMania is wild. So I think that's when it all bombarded me with emotion that you're on WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's incredible. Again, and just having fans there too. It was the perfect storm, because had this been a year ago, let's say you get called up in early 2020, you would have been a part of WrestleMania, but it would have been at the Performance Center in front of no fans. So the timing just kind of works out perfectly. You mentioned Vince earlier and how, the perception of you wanted him to care about you and everything else. Have you had, not just regarding WrestleMania, but just in general in your 3 months on Raw, have you had any conversations with him? Has there been any one key piece of feedback from him, like, hey, work on this, or hey, you're doing a good job with this, et cetera, et cetera?
I wouldn't say we've had a ton, not yet. But every time, I do something, I go right up to him and was that what you wanted? And he usually smiles and says, yes, thank you. And he'll shake my hand. And so far, so good. I guess maybe that's a good thing that he hasn't really had to tell me too much.
Yeah.
One, I could speak for one instance that he just wanted to be careful of how I am, because I'm very animated. He was like, just be careful not to be too animated, save it. And he said that one week, and the next week I did what he wanted, and he made sure to tell me, he was like, I gave you direction last week, and this week you implemented it, and you did exactly what I wanted to. That's all I asked for. Thank you. And I said, no, thank you. And that was it. So we've had little talks, but like WrestleMania, he gave me a hug, and he said, congratulations, I'm happy for you. You did your job well. You should be proud. That was like, wow, so that's cool.
That's awesome.
Everybody's super, like I said, everybody's very positive. I know there's obviously rumors and whatnot sometimes, but I have not seen the dark side that the internet talks about. For me, it's all positive, and everybody's, everybody wants everybody to succeed. It's very cool and a good environment to be around.
With the WrestleMania gear, was there any inspiration behind that, or was it just kind of business as usual?
My gear, there's always inspiration. There's the purple. I got ideas from like an old Triple H gear. The vest is still somewhat Shawn Michaels inspired.
Nice.
And then the chains and the Rockstar stuff is always kind of Edge-like. So there's definitely always I just take a few things from different people, so it's not just one, but that's usually how I that's basically Damian Priest. I just take things that pertain to me and that I feel, and then I just take a little bit from here, a little bit from over there, and then create something that's me. And that's kind of like the way I came up with my gear.
Nice. Yeah, and it looked cool, too. It was an awesome color scheme, so it felt very WrestleMania-worthy. But we go forward here. You win at WrestleMania. What more is there from there? I mean, obviously, to do there's so much more to accomplish, of course, but, it's the typical question of what's next. But what do you have in store for Damian Priest going forward? What can we expect from you going forward coming out of WrestleMania?
The idea of the live forever for Damian Priest for me is that I want my name to live on. I want to accomplish and have enough moments so that people remember my name long after I'm gone. Mm-hmm. And obviously having a moment at WrestleMania is a great start. Like, you can't be remembered. You can't be an icon or a legend or anything in this business or this industry if you don't have a WrestleMania moment. I mean, I just don't see it that way. So especially I'm talking about now. So for me, that was the first step. And now it's just that. It's to continue having moments that people talk about the next day, the next week, the next year, things that live on, that stand the test of time. That's what I want. I just want to have those moments that people remember. Mm-hmm. And whether it's a match or a presentation or an entrance or whatever the case may be, I just want to be remembered for things that I enjoy doing. And that's what's next. Is for me to keep creating moments for the fans to be happy that they witnessed it.
Definitely. And last two questions for you, Damian. Now that you're on the Raw roster, is there anyone, I guess not just on Raw, but it could be SmackDown too. You never know what the shakeup or the draft could bring, but are there any one or two opponents you look at and you're like, all right, I want this match? Like me and Bobby Lashley would be great. Me and Drew McIntyre, even, anyone really. Ricochet would be awesome. Is there anyone that you look at and say to yourself, this is a match I desperately want at some point?
So this is one of those funny questions that, and I can always say, oh, it's probably more than one. And then I'll say a name and then say another and another. And before you know it, I'm saying the entire roster.
Yeah.
Because I want to work with everyone. I really do. Like everybody, there's a reason why they're on this roster, why they work for this company. We're the very best in the world, right? So I want to work with everyone. But if I had to pick like one or two, I mean, obviously I'm going to start at the top. Like and I don't know how many he has left in him. So me and Edge and I have to work. Mm-hmm. we have to mix it up, and whether we're teaming or against each other, but I need to be in the ring with Edge, And we had a little moment at the Royal Rumble, which was amazing. But now I want to do it where all eyes are on us. That would be a big deal for me. And then it'd be hard to not say Roman. He's the man, right? Yep. He's the guy right now in the WWE. And if I want to be special, I got to be in there with the most special person in our company. So for me, those would be the top, but it's not throwing shit at anybody else because, like you said, Lashley, McIntyre, we got Daniel Bryan, KO. I mean, there's so many people here that I want to do business with. So the list is hard to come up with like the top because there's so many. But I'll at least give you those two names because especially Edge, who's somebody that is an inspiration to me, and Roman because he is the man in this company right at the moment. So those two I start there, and then everybody else I want to work with everybody.
Either one would be awesome. Last question for you, man. Is there any one match that stands out so far from your WWE career, including NXT, that stands out as your favorite? I would assume it's the Finn Balor match, but enlighten me if there's another one that I'm not mentioning here.
So, the Finn Balor one was like the catalyst of Me being here today, I don't think I'm here today speaking to you. I didn't have my WrestleMania moment if for that match didn't happen. So that one's always stands out. Obviously, winning the North American title in my first ever ladder match was a big deal. It was my first championship in the WWE, and that also is part of that, live forever type of thing. You're creating a moment. You're in the record books. But the number one now is with my WrestleMania. I had a WrestleMania moment. I mean, till I have another one like that, I just can't see anything topping that. You could have great matches. You could have a great promo. You could have a cool entrance. But when you combined everything and it's a WrestleMania moment, it's hard to top that.
Yeah, it was such a great match, and we're looking forward to the future, man. But this has been great, dude. People can catch you Mondays on Raw USA Network. Damian, thanks so much for the time, man. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.